Can you take us through like the process of getting the weirdest thing into people's ears?
Yeah, I would love to because I still can't believe that I am able to make this podcast and that people enjoy listening to it. So back in 2018, I suppose, early 2018, Joe Brown, our editor in chief at the time, was like, I think it would be good if we had a science podcast. And I was like, okay, here's my first idea. And in retrospect, it was definitely, I hadn't listened to the podcast No Such Thing as a Fish, but I think someone must have described it to me at some point. Awesome podcast. We've had one of the hosts on the show. But it's researchers from the British quiz show QI sharing facts. And Weirdest Thing is different, but the premise is still like researchers share weird facts. And yeah, I was like, listen, we like come across all this bizarre stuff at PopSci that doesn't work as an article, or if it does, there's still like room to talk about it in a more, freeform, silly way. And what if we just literally share those things? And I think honestly, just because it was sort of a really like low minimum buy-in concept, everyone was like, sure, that sounds fine. And I just started making it with the help of some amazing PopSci editors who contributed. And we really, we figured stuff out as we went. And the audience growth was entirely organic. We didn't have a marketing budget for it. We started a private Facebook group, as you know, to create like, I guess like, this sort of flavor of exclusivity, but everybody can join. And a bunch of people joined just because they like Facebook groups where they share weird facts. So that definitely helped us grow a little bit. But mostly it was really just, I had a modest but loyal Twitter following, and that was back when Twitter still mattered to people. And I think those people, it really resonated with them, and they shared it really widely. And we're, we have like around 200,000 downloads a month. Yeah, and we've had some amazing guests. And we are nominated for a Webby. So that's super exciting. But yeah, there were many times when like it probably would have made more sense for me to be like, on top of all the other work I do, you still have me doing this show and we don't have a marketing budget for it, and maybe we should just stop. But I love it so much, and I love the listeners so much. So I am very glad that it persists.
I love that all of that growth was so organic. It's just like that's the best way to build community. I mean, and it grew. I know it was steady, but it was also very quick to the point you were like selling out live events. Was there a specific inflection point when you knew it had staying power and it was just going to be a podcast that was not going to go away?
That's a great question. The answer is no, but I think I think for a long time I kept sort of waiting for it to fizzle out. But I think that says more about me than about like what our our numbers looked like. But yeah, it's true that we very quickly had like, solid 4-digit listenership like immediately. And that was surprising to us and exciting. But we really had no reason to believe that it would that would mean that we were going to grow a bunch. And I think it's just really sticking with it and like leaning into what the listeners like about it, because it's not a podcast for everyone. Like definitely we got plenty of early feedback and still get feedback where it's like, this is a bunch of giggly people who disrespect Thomas Jefferson for some reason all the time. And if I think maybe if it had been getting more like support and attention institutionally, maybe somebody would have been like, we got to address these these critiques, and we probably would have like lost our loyal audience because they love us because um the show is like hanging out with friends. And I think it was probably after the first live show that we did where we successfully sold it out, which I did not know was going to happen. I definitely up until like the day before, I was like, oh, uh-oh, what if no one's here? And yeah, being in the room with people who had like sought out our live show and it being a packed house, I think probably was when I finally had to admit that it was a podcast with fans that was successful.